Holy shit, what an insane week. And the week ended pretty much on a high, and I wasn't going to do a show, but then because I did some really crazy trades, I thought I'd jump on and do a stream for you guys and update you guys on the weekend. So I really wasn't going to do this, but I've done such crazy trades. In fact, one of the trades that I took is the craziest trade I've ever taken in my life, and I just thought that I'd come to you guys live on a Saturday from Dubai and actually show you what the trades were that I took and tell you why I took those trades. So let's get going, guys. Let's not waste any time. Look, I know there's a lot of you that are complaining that we rescheduled the show and we were late, but guys, I'm coming to you from a hotel room in Dubai over the weekend. I'm supposed to be here at a conference, and you can see I've set up a makeshift streaming studio just so I can show you the trades that I took this weekend, because this week was such an amazing week that I think the only way we've got to review everything that happened in this week, and I've got to show you the trades that I took, including one trade which I thought was probably the biggest trade that I've ever taken in my life on leverage. So I've never taken such a big trade on leverage. I'll actually show you the trade so you can see exactly the trade that I took. So listen, if that tickles your fancy and if you want to hang out here, what I want you to do is I want you to destroy and obliterate the like button, because remember, this is one of those shows that wasn't actually planned, and when we do the shows that aren't planned, then the algorithm doesn't actually circulate the show. So what I need you guys to do, if you appreciate this, is obliterate the like button. I'm going to take you through a whole lot of alpha. I'm going to walk you through everything that happened this week. In fact, that's probably the best place to actually start. Someone's asking which hotel are you at. I can't tell you which hotel I'm at, because then you guys will come and stalk me. So I am in a beautiful hotel. I mean, you can see it looks a little bit crazy, this hotel I'm in, but it's a beautiful suite. I did a makeshift streaming studio just so I could bring you guys this amazing love and amazing wisdom. So let's look at the week. I mean, definitely the best week that crypto has had this year. I mean, just look at the moves this week. Radium up 57%, Aave and the DeFi tokens up, Athena up. I mean, this is a weekly, hey? 43% up for the week. Doge up 30.1, even 𝗪𝗡 up 23%. By the way, on 𝗪𝗡, I've heard that the seller that was there is now completely out the way, which means that maybe this token can actually start getting its momentum back. Again, also pretty much everything up. That's the first 100. That's the second 100. Drift up 242% this week. We're going to talk about Drift because that is actually one of the trades that I've actually taken. So I'll show you that trade. But to recap the week, this is definitely the biggest week that we've had on stock markets. I mean, just look at the Dow Jones, 4.79% up this week. If you look at the S&P 500, up 5.46% this week. Remember, the Dow Jones moving up quite a lot because Trump, as part of his promises, is going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. What does that mean? It means that you're going to have to spend a lot of money building factories and a lot of money on the industrial sector. And that's why the Dow Jones would start running. S&P 500 naturally moving up 5%. The NASDAQ moving up 6.21% because everything is going to start moving this week. Then, I guess, one of the biggest traders this week is Tesla. Just look at Tesla. You're talking about Tesla moving up 35%. Now, I just want to give you some perspective on what that 35% means. You're talking about a stock that has gone to a market cap. Let's just see if we can see the market cap here. Let's see if we can see it here. Sorry, I've got a very small screen. But I know Tesla has just reached a market cap of over $1 trillion. So this move over here, which was 35%, took Tesla from, say, $600 million or $700 million all the way through to over $1 trillion in market cap. And I guess the reason why that happened is because Elon had conviction. If you want to bring it down to one word, Elon had absolute conviction. And the reward for him sticking to his guns and having absolute conviction and willing to he risked everything. When I say he risked everything, I think you know exactly what I mean. I think if the Democrats had won after all that Elon did to show support for Trump, I think he knows that the Democrats would have taken him down. Now, look, they weren't favorable towards him anyway, because you remember that Joe Biden didn't even recognize him. He didn't even invite him to the EV manufacturer summit. They didn't even recognize him at all. And so what he did was he had absolute conviction. And having that conviction skyrocketed his wealth to over $300 billion. Now that is the difference between conviction, right? Like if you want to take positions, if you want to make money, you have to have conviction. You have to be able to stick to your guns regardless of what the noise is around us, right? And that is exactly, that's exactly what I tweeted the other day. I said, look, anything that happened between when I tweeted this and when the markets, and when we actually had the election results, I said, everything that happens is noise. And you've got to block out that noise. And that is exactly what conviction is about. Conviction is about saying, look, I have a thesis. I'm going to stick to the thesis. Obviously, I'm going to be open to listening to new information, but devoid of any information being able to disprove my thesis or what I believe in, I am going to stick to this specific thesis. And that's exactly what Elon did. Elon's thesis was that he needed Trump to win. He thought that we needed Trump to win. And I mean, if you heard how Trump was dismantling the deep state and the whole speech that Trump actually made, you know that Elon did it for freedom of speech, for freedom of Americans. Elon, I think, is operating on another level. I don't know if you saw this Joe Rogan clip, but he explains how Elon built an app to know the election results. Just listen to this.
Apparently, Elon created an app, and he knew who won 4 hours before the results. So as the results were coming in, 4 hours before they called it, Dana White told me, Elon was like, I'm leaving, it's over, Donald won. He just fucking...
Elon's operating at a completely different level of everything, including conviction. You got to give the guy credit for his conviction. And I think that conviction is absolutely the key here. If you've got conviction and you're willing to stick to your guns, regardless of what the noise is around you, that is how you make money. And I said it here, another person who had absolute conviction, Brian Armstrong. And if you look at the Coinbase stock up this week, 53.94% up this week. Okay, now you're not talking about a small stock here. You're talking about a stock that's got a market cap of 67 billion. And because of Brian Armstrong's continued conviction, you're talking about a stock going up 53% this week. Can you believe it? Like, this is not like small stocks. These are big, going up 53% in the week. So again, it's all about conviction. And I posted this trade and I said, conviction is when you buy Solana when everyone's making noise. And this is a screenshot that I took where Solana was at $200 or $199. And I said, this is conviction, a 13,652% return. So that is what conviction's about. Another person that had absolute conviction was Michael Saylor. And MicroStrategy up this week was up 27.31% this week. But I want to show you a different view on MicroStrategy. So this is this week. This is MicroStrategy in the last 2 years since they adopted their Bitcoin strategy. So you're talking about a 2,051% return on a stock, guys. And if you look at the performance of MicroStrategy all along these years, and every candle here is 1 year, so that's 2001, 2002, 2003. You look at their entire range until they actually started getting into Bitcoin. And you can see the difference that it makes when you actually have conviction and you actually stick to your guns. So that is pretty much the week that was in the markets. What you can see is that there's a big difference between the people and tokens that had conviction versus the people and the tokens that didn't have conviction, right? The other thing that you can see, which is pretty interesting, is that the gold price actually started to go down. And the reason why the gold price started to go down, remember gold had a huge run up towards the elections, and now the gold price is actually starting to come down. So ask yourself the question, why is the gold price going down? Well, the gold price is going down because the dollar is getting stronger. And usually when the dollar gets stronger, any asset that is denominated in dollars actually gets destroyed, right? And that's exactly what happened to gold. So the dollar got stronger, as you can see over here. And then what happened was gold went down. But usually what you would imagine is that you would imagine that if the gold went down because the dollar went up, that Bitcoin would do exactly the same thing, right? Because Bitcoin is digital gold, Bitcoin is denominated in dollars. When the Bitcoin price goes up, then you'd expect, when the Dixie goes up, you'd expect the Bitcoin price to go up. But that's not what happened. And if you look at the weekly on Bitcoin, just look at, I'm going to take it from the bottom. I'm not going to take the whole weekly move. I'm going to take it from the bottom to the top to where we are today. You're talking about a 13.74% move in the Bitcoin price, and that's on the back of the Dixie actually strengthening. And you got to ask yourself, why is this actually happening? I think this is what I want to talk to you about, because I think this is where the whole thesis comes into play. So the reason why it's happening is because I think there's a massive catch-up trade when it comes to crypto. We've had 4 really bad years with a really bad administration who were completely anti-crypto and specifically anti-altcoin. So Bitcoin, they had no choice. So they were anti-crypto and they were anti-altcoins. Now the altcoin discussion is, it's very important that we speak about the altcoins. But what you're seeing now is the exact opposite. When you get a suppressed trade and all of a sudden the trade starts to turn, you start getting FOMO. You start getting a lot of FOMO. And we're really starting to see that FOMO kicking in. But this is just the beginning of the FOMO. When I say the beginning of the FOMO, we're here, guys. Like, we're here. This is where we're at when you zoom out and when you look at the big picture. In fact, if you want to look at it on a bigger chart, we're here. Like, this is where we're at. I mean, kind of look at the timing here as well. That is November. Look at where my cross is here. That is November 2020, election year, halving year. So election year, halving year, and that is the exact same breakout as the one that we have just witnessed over here. So this is the beginning, and the reason why this happens is because of FOMO. We're starting to get extreme FOMO. Now, why are we getting FOMO? Number one, we're getting FOMO because this news of the strategic Bitcoin reserve, whether or not it's going to happen and how quickly it's going to happen, is right now irrelevant. Even though I think we are going to get some kind of strategic reserve, but I think it takes the US a lot of time to pass laws, as 𝗙𝗧 said when we had a show this week. But what you can see here is that there's starting to be a lot of FOMO. In fact, this is a Chinese broadcast, okay? So look, this is a Chinese broadcast, and just look at what they're saying.
特币价格飙升至历史新高。数据显示，按市值计算的全球最大加密货币比特币，在6号盘中交易价格一度达到$75,000，再创历史新高，涨幅超8%。据多家媒体报道，特朗普此前曾承诺要让美国成为世界比特币和加密货币。
So Chinese outlets where Bitcoin is illegal are now reporting on Trump and this potential strategic reserve, right? So on this strategic reserve. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize just how much money Trump is going to start printing, right? So we had the show with 𝗙𝗧. I think a lot of you have watched it. About 70,000 people have already watched the show. You should really go and watch it, because he talks about just how much money, is going to land up being printed when Trump gets into power to execute all these strategic plans that Trump actually has to do. So now you're getting this crazy FOMO that is starting to develop, and you're seeing it in the ETFs. So look at the ETFs. We had a massive day on the 7th. We had 1.3 billion, and then on the 8th, which was Friday, we had another $293 billion worth of assets flowing into the ETF. So if you take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're looking at 1.6, 2.2, less about 700. You're looking at about 1.5 billion net inflows last week into the ETFs, which is absolutely crazy. You're starting to see increasing momentum into the ETFs, which is amazing. Then what you're also seeing on the ETFs is that BlackRock have now said that the Bitcoin ETF is bigger than their entire gold ETF. Now, bear in mind, their Bitcoin ETF is 10 months old. Their gold ETF is, let's see, iShares Gold Trust. Let's see when iShares Gold Trust actually started. When was iShares Gold Trust started? I don't know if it doesn't say that, but it looks like it was a hell of a long time ago. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing that in the BlackRock ETF has got $33.1 billion, and the gold ETF, which has been going for much longer, has got $32 billion. Also, just look at the speed at which the Bitcoin ETF grew versus the gold ETF. So that's the Bitcoin ETF, and that's the gold ETF. And if you take all the years together, of course, now the Bitcoin ETF has actually got much more than the gold ETF. So that's coming from that side of the world, from the TradFi side of the world. From the other side of the world, we're starting to get a few more searches for Bitcoin, but more importantly, we're starting to see a lot of retail people actually come in and get FOMO. And the reason why this is important, the reason why this is absolutely important is because these are the people that are going to buy the altcoins, right? So if you look at the Coinbase app, the Coinbase app has moved to number 126 on the App Store. In fact, Fred actually showed it pretty well over here. We were November 2 with 393, 484, 445, 393, 144, 127, 117. So you see a lot more people are starting to download Coinbase. Now, who's downloading Coinbase? New people that are coming into crypto that want to be buying crypto. So the app is starting to really gain momentum. The other thing which is starting to gain momentum is the growth in our subscribers, because we know that the YouTube subscriber growth is the best measure for us as to, we know when retail is coming in and we know when the cycle is going to end based on the speed at which retail is actually coming into the market, right? So this is a tweet that I posted on Friday. I said today was the biggest subscriber growth day in a long time. Retail are moving in, and that means you know what to do. And I wasn't the only one who actually picked this up. Alex Becker said the same thing. He said crypto views on his channel are starting to skyrocket. So I went to his channel. Number one, look at our channel. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, subscribe and get these numbers up. Let's get to 1.1 million. But more importantly, I went to Alex's channel and I started looking at the difference in views. Now, remember, the older the video, the more views that the video should be getting. And you can see that he was getting 182,000, 187,000, 172,000. And then he started to get 265, 299, 273, which means that more retail people are starting to come in every single day. So it's basically all happening. Everything that we've said that we thought was going to happen is actually starting to happen right now. The retail investors are starting to come in, and we're starting to get everything up. Fred Kruger also posted, he said, Normie FOMO has started in the last 24 hours. Old college friends have started to call him. A Russian oligarch's son who wants to sit down and talk, and his housekeeper wants to know where she can buy a Bitcoin book. It is starting to feel a lot more like 2017. So it really, really, really is starting to move to feel and look like 2017, which is great. So that is when it comes to the overall market. But that's not why you guys are here. You guys are here because you want to see the trades, right? And if you want to see those trades, you better destroy and obliterate those like buttons, because now I'm going to get into the degen part of it, where I actually show you a lot of the trades that I took. One of the trades I can't show you because it's in a separate account, and on Bybit you can only show one account per browser, so you can't log into two accounts on the same browser. And because I'm using one browser, you won't be able to see it, but I'll walk you through the trades. I think the most important thing that you need to understand is that there has been a significant shift in the risk profile of the crypto market. And in fact, actually, it's not the risk profile of the crypto market. Remember I showed you how the Dow went up like 5% and the NASDAQ went up 5%. And if you look at the Russell 2000, which is the small stocks, went up 10%. That's double. And so what you're starting to see is you're starting to see people moving down the risk curve. You're starting to see people moving down the risk curve. Now, this started a long time ago. Remember I said to you that people who were investing in treasuries are now having to move down the risk curve. Why? Because treasuries were paying you 5%, now they're paying you 4%, soon they're going to be paying you 3%. So people are moving out of treasuries, and they're going to move into risk, and then they're going to move into the stock market. And those people that were moving into the stock market are going to move into the smaller caps in the stock market. So there's going to be a significant shift down the risk curve of the markets, right? And so you're starting to see it now, because the Russell 2000, you're getting a 10% move up, so double the move that happened on the S&P 500s and whatever else. And then you also saw Total 2 finally break out of this downtrend that Total 2's been out of, which is the altcoin. So those charts starting to show you that something is happening. And another chart that shows me that something is happening on the risk curve is this chart over here. We've been battling this Bitcoin dominance chart for a long time, and we haven't had a significant drop in discourse in Bitcoin dominance. But here it is. You can see that it beautifully kissed this line, and now it's starting to come down, and it's quite an aggressive move down, which means that people are moving away from Bitcoin and starting to move down the risk curve. It's okay to invest in alts now because the Trump administration is not going to be as crazy on alts as the Biden and Kamala Harris administration were. By the way, has anyone seen Kamala Harris? Because I haven't seen Kamala Harris since the elections, guys. I haven't seen Kamala Harris since the elections. Another very, very, very encouraging chart actually is the ETH chart. So ETH broke $3,000, which is amazing. Then ETH also broke the 50-week MA, 50 weeks. So this is like quite a big moving average. 50-week moving average has now been broken with this breach of the $3,000 move. Also, if I look at the ETH BTC chart, so a lot of very interesting things happening on this ETH BTC chart. The first thing that is happening on the ETH BTC chart, I'm actually going to take it to the weekly because I just think it's a better way to look at it. So if you look at, okay, let's just let this internet just buffer. But if you look at this chart over here, the one thing that you'll notice is that, let's see if we can refresh this for you guys. Okay, for some reason it's slowed down a lot, but let's see if we can get it back. But the ETH BTC chart not only bounced off this, hold on, let's refresh this and see if we can get the chart back. Okay, so let me just get rid of this. So if you look at the ETH BTC chart specifically, I'm going to go on to the weekly and see if it'll give us the weekly, because I think that this is where you can see the magic here. Okay, so if you look at this downtrend that the ETH BTC chart has been on, right? It's been, you could almost say, in a channel. So you look at the ETH BTC chart and you say, okay, let's just roughly draw a channel over here like that, and maybe you can even just draw it not like that, but a bit like that. So there's been a channel that the ETH BTC chart has been moving down. And you can see that the ETH BTC chart on the weekly bounced exactly off this line over here. Now, that's the first part of it. The second part of it is that it's actually bounced through this downtrend that it's been on since August. So it's been on a huge downtrend and it's bounced off the low here. But we have now breached this downtrend that we've been on since August on the weekly and on the daily. And if you go back to the daily, even if you look at the ETH BTC chart, we're over the 50-day simple moving average, which is basically we are moving into a much more bullish territory. Now, I'm going to celebrate small victories here. We've had 3 days of inflows around $100 million. Now, look, that's nowhere near the Bitcoin ETF, nowhere near it. But that is one of the reasons why I'm bullish, because I think what's happening here is we're catching something that, you know, if this trend line breaks, I think if this weekly trend line breaks, we've got big problems, right? And we bounced so beautifully off this trend line over here that it feels like we could be recovering if you take all that together. And I think 𝗪𝗡 actually said it quite well. He said, just thinking out loud, I've been expecting ETH to start gaining lost ground on Bitcoin. It's partly driven by the risk-taking cycle, but also by the election, because now the whole of DeFi is built on ETH. And TradFi is also going to start looking for yield, which is exactly what I said to you guys earlier this week. So I don't think that ETH, I don't agree with him that he says ETH begins to outpace Bitcoin, but I agree with him. He says ETH does outpace Bitcoin, but maybe doesn't obviously underperform Sol and Solana, because there's two different risk profiles. When you talk about Bitcoin, you talk about Sol and Solana. And so I think that with next week, with DevCon coming, that's one of the first trades that I actually took. And I did multiple trades on this ETH thing. So the first thing that I did on ETH was I had a whole lot of spot ETH. You guys know that I had a whole lot of spot ETH. And I wasn't happy with the spot ETH in my portfolio. Well, I wasn't happy with the spot ETH in my portfolio because it wasn't going to give me Solana type return. So what I did was I sold the spot ETH and I took a like 4 or 5x leverage trade on my ETH. And so I landed up with, like, if you sell $10,000 worth of ETH and then you go and put that on 4 or 5x leverage, you're getting $50,000 worth of ETH. Now, look, there's a risk that you can be liquidated, but the thing is, I'm keeping my liquidation range so far away that for me to get liquidated, my drop needs to be like, I don't know, 30-40% in the price of ETH. And that's not really something that I'm imagining. Like I don't imagine that I'm going to get a 30-40% drop in ETH. The other move that I did was I actually bought more ETH options. So I went to Deribit and I landed up buying a whole lot of ETH options. So sorry, that's Bitcoin options. So you can see I've got positions in the December options, which are expiring soon. I've got 50 which are in the money, and I've got another 100 which are almost in the money. And then I went and bought options for June. I bought 50 options, as you can see. I bought 50 options. Actually, I thought that I bought a whole lot more options. I bought 50 options which expire at $3,000, which expire in June 2025. I really thought that I bought more options. I hope that the order isn't open. I'll check out with the order in a few minutes. So that's the first trade that I took. The first trade that I took is I basically levered up my ETH position. So I didn't move into ETH betas, which I could have done. I just went into ETH. I increased my leverage on ETH, exactly like Arthur Hayes said, and I increased. Now I don't recommend that you do that unless you can defend the liquidation price. Because remember, you're paying, you can be easily liquidated, and I don't want you guys to actually get liquidated, right? But if you do want to take those trades, there are 3 exchanges that you can take them on. Bybit, if you want to trade anyway, BitGet, Blofin has no KYC. All the descriptions will be in the bottom, and you can sign up in the bottom. If you sign up on BitGet this month, then for the next year, you'll get a big discount on your trading fees. You'll get over 10% discount on your trading fees if you sign up with BitGet in this month. Then for a year, you will get 10% off your trading fees. There is a link below. You can get the link over here. Let me actually just show you where it is. Here we go. Let's get the link. Okay, so you can see the link over here. BitGet, get 10% off your fees exclusively if you use this Banter link and you sign up in the month of November. You're going to get 10% off your fees. So that's the first trade that I took. Let's move on to the next token. So Solana is the next one that's had an amazing week. Okay, right now it's not on the highs because the market is cooling down. I mean, you can't even say cooling down. It's just like a little bit slow. But what you can see here is that Solana actually hit $205, which is, I mean, one of the highs of the cycle. But more importantly, if you look at the Solana market cap, now this is a chart that shows the market cap of Solana. So even though the price of Solana is not at its all-time highs, the market cap of Solana is at its all-time highs. Now, people are asking, well, how can the price not be at all-time highs, but the market cap be at all-time highs? That's because the last time we got here, there were less tokens in circulation, so the market cap was lower. Now, since then, there's been a lot of token emissions, and so now the market cap's actually going up. So you can see that the Solana has broken its height in terms of market cap. Not only that, in terms of dominance, in other words, the percentage that Solana takes up of all crypto tokens has also gone up above to all-time high. So Solana is really having a run. And Eric Ryan actually said, this is an engulfing candle. And he said, this is the real one. This is the real candle for Solana. And he believes that Solana continues to move, right? Now, I mean, again, Eugene says the same thing. He says, just look at the pattern on Solana. He says it's one of the best chart setups that he's ever seen in his life. Now, I mean, that's a big thing. So what was the next trade that I actually took? So one of the trades that I took was actually on Drift. So you know that I'm a big fan of Drift, and anyone who's in Front Runners has probably been in this trade with me from when we called it at 30 cents. So we told our front runners that they should go long on Drift from 30 cents. That's literally what we did. We said. Anyway, today, if you look at what's happened to Drift, Drift went to $2.87. Literally, Drift went from 30 cents when we called it to $2.87. That's 9x on a real big Solana gem. Now, why did this happen? So the reason why this happened is twofold. The first thing is Drift got an upbit listing. Now, when I say Drift got, oh, hold on, my battery's about to run out. Let me quickly run and get us a charger. Otherwise, we ain't going to have a show. So let me quickly run and get us a charger. 1 second. Have no fear, I'm here, bringing us a charger. We can have the rest of the show. Hold on, let me just go plug it in on the other side. Okay, we have action. We have action. Okay, so let me just plug myself in so I can hear myself. Okay, there we go. We're back in action. We have power again. So Drift was listed on Upbit, and any token that gets listed on Upbit generally gets one of these crazy pumps, right? The thing with this pump is that the problem is that there started to be a short squeeze. Now, how do you know when there's a short squeeze? So you go to Bybit and you look at the funding rate. Now, when the funding rate is high, what this funding rate means is that people are paying 1.5% of their position every 8 hours for the funding. That is an insane funding rate. This happens when a lot of people are actually short, right? So right now there are a lot of people that are short on Drift. And so what's happened is there was a massive short squeeze to get people out, because there's no way that Drift, as much as we love Drift went from 49 cents to $2.84. Okay, now it's starting to come down again, and that is another one of the trades that I've actually taken. Now you've got to be super careful taking a trade like this. So I am one of the people that is currently short Drift. My entry price is at 170, it's now at 167, but you can see that I'm short Drift with 10x margin here, and I've taken a Drift trade. I'm slightly in the money, but I think that Drift has to come down to a normal level. And when I say normal level, maybe it'll come down to $1, maybe it'll come down to $1.20, but certainly it doesn't need to be this high. And so that's why I've taken a short on Drift. As I said to you, I've gone stinky long ETH options. I've taken a Drift short. This time I've taken a Drift short, and I sold some of my spot Drift. Why did I do that? Just because I'll buy it back cheaper. There's no way that a token can sustain a pump like this. Also, you got to keep watching the funding rates now. When the funding rates go down, then you know that the short squeeze is finished. So right now everyone's short. Soon it's going to go down. The short squeeze is going to be finished. Everybody's going to get out the way. Now, again, all these trades have been called in front runners. I mean, you can see that, this is where we share all our alpha. So again, I told the guys, load up on Drift, load up on D-Bridge. This was at 40 cents last week. I said just have conviction and actually go and load up on these tokens. And I think a lot of the front runners did. In fact, when I was looking at the front runners Twitter today, I think it's here. It's insane how much money these guys are making. Paolo called Puffer the other day, and you can just see it. So Puffer people making huge money on Paolo's Puffer trade. There were so many calls. If you guys want to join front runners, we had a special this week, but I think it's finished, where you can get two. So you can still get 50. I thought this was taken off. Okay, well, I'll give you guys until tomorrow morning, 50% off the first 2 months for new people if you use the Trump 2024. Okay, we'll get this off. We'll get this off. We'll get this link off. But if you get in before, you'll get in before. Okay, so that was the other trade. That was the other trade that I actually ended up taking. Is I went short Drift. You can see I'm still short Drift. It's quite a risky trade, but I think that it has to come down. You can't have a token triple just because it's listed on an exchange. It doesn't actually make sense. So that is the Drift trade. Let me show you another trade which I actually took this weekend. Again, I dropped this trade in front runners. Here's my thesis. So I'm looking at Parcel, and I've been calling Parcel for a long time. I called it for you guys here at 18 or 19 cents. I look at the chart. The chart looks something like this. So you can see that the chart looks like it's about to break into like some kind. Parcel, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Parcel is a derivatives platform on real estate. So if you want to trade leverage on real estate in Florida, in Hong Kong, in Dubai, you go to Parcel and you trade derivatives on real estate. We've spoken about that. But what you can see is that if you are smart and you say, okay, the reason why did Drift pump? Drift pumped because it was on exchanges. It got exchange listing. So then what I did was I went to look at Parcel and I said, okay, I just want to see what exchanges is Parcel actually listed on. And really the only major exchanges is Bybit. There's no Binance listing. There's no Coinbase listing. there's no upbit listing, there's nothing. Okay, so what does that mean? I mean, it means that in time, and maybe time is going to be much sooner than you think, maybe Parcel is going to start getting some real exchange listings, and maybe the maybe is not a maybe. Maybe the maybe is actually something that, you know, some people in front runners actually know, right? So this is the thesis that I have, right? This is the thesis that I have, is that Parcel is going to be the next one to get a listing. Now, is it going to be an Upbit listing or a Coinbase listing or a Binance listing? I don't know. I just feel that a Solana-based token, which is derivatives on real estate, which is backed by all these people, is going to get some real exchange listings. And when it does happen, I want to be a part of this pump and this short squeeze. And so what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start loading up now while it's still at 40 cents. And maybe it'll do what drifted. Maybe it won't, but hey, maybe it will. And then I'm going to be there. I'm almost sure this thing's going to get some exchange listings. That's why I keep saying to the front runners, just keep down, move down the curve, start buying Parcel, start buying Parcel. So that's another one which I actually bought today. Next one which I bought, again, is I bought D-Bridge. I bought more D-Bridge. Why? Look at the move on D-Bridge this week. So if you look at D-Bridge, if you look at the daily move on D-Bridge, it went up to 32 cents. It looks like it's starting to do well. And as I said to you, the bridge is a good bridge. So D-Bridge, another one which I took today, I sold some of my spot drift and I went into D-Bridge. Okay, so that's where I went. Another one which I'm looking at, I haven't bought it yet, is Metaplex. Reason why is I like what Metaplex does. Metaplex create token standards for Solana. And I mean, if you look at the price chart of Metaplex, it looks like there's a long way for it to go up if we continue to have a Solana run. And I mean, if you look at their usage stats, they use 50% of their revenue to buy and burn Metaplex tokens. And if you look at the fees that they land up making, they make huge fees. So for me, Metaplex is another one that I'm starting to slowly build up a position. So those are the Solana tokens that I'm been building up a position. There are one or two others that I built, like the one I saw a tweet around Aerodrome. In fact, I actually want to show you this tweet because this tweet's actually quite good. Let me see if I can find the tweet for you guys. Yeah, it's this tweet over here. So if you look at Coinbase was up 50% since the US election, and Aerodrome, which is much more than Aerodrome was up. So why would I be looking at something like Aerodrome? Because Aerodrome is effectively, like, you think about Coinbase is the crypto exchange from fiat. But if you want to trade on Base the chain, and you want to trade tokens on Base the chain, you're going to be using the decentralized Coinbase, which is a decentralized base chain exchange. And the decentralized base chain exchange is Aerodrome. So, I think the Irishman actually posted in Frontrunner that he actually took this trade today. I think I saw that happening in Frontrunners. All right, next one which I took another position in, and I already have a big position, is in the meme coin space. Why? Because it's 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢. The reason why is, so there's been a little bit of a shake-up in 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢. The devs obviously still there, the guys are all still there. But in terms of making the content, I don't know if you guys have been watching the 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢 content. It is the best content on the market by far. And the guy that has been making the content, he's the guy that's now running the show. He's the guy that's in there, and he's building 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢 Studios. So he has been tasked, he's been given money, and he's basically said, look, build us 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢 Studios. Build us this whole meme coin studio. And so that's basically, I know the guy, he used to work for us, like we placed him there. Fantastic guy. I know him, I trust him, he's amazing. He's the guy who's been writing all the scripts and making all the amazing content. So he's made all these things. So those are the other ones. People are talking about Pepe Coin. Yes, I'm very long Pepe Coin. I think I was one of the first people to actually bring you Pepe Coin. I think a lot of the people have started to move from old Pepe into Pepe Coin. So like Pepe Coin was the original Pepe meme, and that took it to $5.12. I see people talking about it in the thing. Someone says Baked. Yes, we finally got our money back from the market makers. So we're in the process of contracting new market makers. When we contract new market makers, then they can start market making on Baked, and then we can get liquidity again. We don't have liquidity on Baked because the market makers were 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢𝗥, their founder was arrested, and there was like a big problem. So that's that. Now I want to just quickly just give you like a little bit more alpha here, because there's a lot of alpha that I promised you guys a lot of alpha today. So I did see this tweet, and the tweet said that TP'd as per the plan, ready for full pullbacks and reallocation on Solana. Comes from Eugene. Eugene's pretty credible. I think he's right. I think if you're short-term trading, okay, so let's say that you're short-term trading. If you're short-term trading, then you've got to be careful in this market. And the reason why you got to be careful in this market is because the short-term RSIs are actually pretty high. So that's the RSIs. That is the 4-hour RSIs. They're starting to get into red territory. If you look at the 24-hour RSIs, they're in middle territory, but starting to get high. So the shorter your view is, the more you should start thinking of maybe looking for other entries. If you are on the weekly, in other words, you're an investor, you still got quite a long way to go. You still got quite a long way to go, because the average RSI on the tokens is about 47 on the weekly. But if you move up to the 4-hour, the average RSI is in the 60s. So be careful if you're short-term trading. If you're long-term holding, there's still a long way to go. If you're short-term trading, well, then be a little bit more careful here. All right, I want to show you a few other things that I saw. I think 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗢 was also, hold on a second, let me just get there. So 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗢 also called for a little bit of a pullback. He said, look, a pullback is most likely coming in the next 7 days. I'm not closing any positions. I'm not shorting. I wouldn't be shorting in this market. I think it's crazy unless it's an anomaly like the drift. So again, you can see the RSIs. Here's the RSIs on Solana. If you look at the daily RSI, the daily RSI is 69. That's like that. The RSI is high on daily. But if you toggle to the weekly, you can see the weekly RSI is still on the way up and still like lower, 61. So like still quite a long way to go if you're long-term investing. If you're short-term trading, maybe slightly different. Okay, so two things that I just want to remind you of. Number one, if you are here and you want to learn to trade in less than 10 days. So like I've set Sheldon a task. I want you to take someone in on a Monday, and by like the next Wednesday, these guys must know exactly how to trade. We don't have time. The market's running too fast for us now. We don't have time. So he's created a new course. The new course allows you to learn how to trade in 10 days. That's it. You learn to trade in 10 days. But there's very limited seats for this course, and you've only got 9 days to sign up for this. So if you want to sign up, literally like you won't miss a second in this market. You learn to trade in 10 days. Done. Finish. In, out. 10 days to learn to trade. Absolutely amazing. If you want 10% off your fees, there's your BitGet link. Use that BitGet link only for people who use it in the month of November. Then you will be able to get the 10% off your fees for the next year. That's it. No one else. And then, I mean, lastly, if you haven't yet entered this, you're crazy. It's your only chance to win a Bitcoin. Go here, make your prediction for the end of the year, and you could actually be one of the people. Yeah, someone says, Traveler says, is it free? Yeah, Sniper School is free. It's still free. Okay, cool. I think that's it for the alpha. I mean, I'm happy to take a little bit of Q&A because we're all here and it's Sunday and we're hanging. Just look at all these winning trades from front runners. And the Irishman doesn't know this, but I've still kept the code, the Trump 2024 code. So until he actually finds out and takes it down, I'll keep it there. I see you all. I see 𝗬𝗎𝗓. I see Nick Gassan's always here. Murali, I see you. Dabby, I see you. I see all the 𝗥𝗢𝗡 people here. The 𝗥𝗢𝗡 people came out in full force. Say, yeah, I'm building a position and say, 𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗕, yes. So my information says that the seller's gone. I can't confirm that the seller's gone, but my information says the seller's gone. Someone says, nothing is free. I registered before it asked for a Visa card to pay. We don't take money. There's no Visa card. We don't even have a Visa card account or whatever you need. So I don't know where you're getting your info from, unless you went to a scam site, which would be really bad news if you did. Someone says, best ever. Bro, best ever. Run, check Grass, what a pumper. Yes, Irishman called Grass in his channel in the Discord. Gummy games coming soon, people. AR is finding it. Let's actually look at the bubbles while we're here. Let's have a look here. So let's look at the daily. I'm looking at the weekly. Notcoin flying, Radium must be at like, hold on a second. Let's have a look here. Radium is like $6 or something. Must be at $6. $5.52. Notcoin. Let's look at the next 100 over here. Okay, hold on a second. Crazy. Let's look at the next 100. So drift, you see drift is starting to come down. So now my shorts actually, my short might actually start printing. Let's have a look here. Let's quickly go to my short. Yeah, you see I'm starting to make a little bit more money on the short now. Because, yeah, you see, I am $6,920 up on that short, which is 11% up because so you can see I've put some margin down. I think this short will actually print money. I really think it will. I think it will print money, but be careful, you can get squeezed with the short. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the conference. I'm going to go back to the Bybit Creator Conference. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow what we're doing is we are launching an AI agent is coming onto the show, and the AI agent is going to launch a meme coin. And once the AI agent launches the meme coin, the owner of the AI agent is going to denounce and say, don't take any more human prompts ever around this meme coin. And so from that point on, the meme coin is going to be managed by the AI. We're going to do a live launch. It is going to blow your mind. We're doing it with humans.ai. It's going to blow your mind. I've seen a demo. I can tell you it's probably one of the most impressive things that you'll ever see in your life. So I'll see you tomorrow. It'll be roughly this time. Just look out, put on your notifications, subscribe and put it in your notifications. If you appreciate this, share it, smash the like. What chain? It's on Solana, guys. It'll launch it on Solana. All right, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.